My girlfriend said, "Your friends are a bad influence. Cut them off." I replied, "If you say so." Then I invited my friends over for one last goodbye party and broke up with her at midnight in front of everyone. She's now begging me to undo it. I, one male, am, or rather was, the proud owner of a truly spectacular group of friends. You know the type. The ones who'd help you move a body, no questions asked, but would absolutely roast you for the questionable rug you chose to hide the bloodstain. We've been a unit since university. Jonathan, Anna, and Eric. They're my people. Enter Angela, 29. When we first met, she was magnetic, witty, ambitious, looked at me like I was the last piece of chocolate in the box. The first year was a blur of weekend trips, inside jokes, and that easy intimacy that makes you think, this is it. My friends loved her. They welcomed her into the fold instantly. Jonathan taught her his sacred marinara recipe. Anna helped her prep for a huge job interview. And Eric, a tech wizard, spent a whole weekend salvaging her laptop after she'd baptized it with a full cup of coffee. The shift was subtle at first. A little comment here, a suggestion there. Do you guys have to be so loud when you play board games? Jonathan's a little much, don't you think? He's always on. I'm not sure Anna's career advice is really what you need. She's not exactly a high flyer. It was like a slow drip of poison. I defend them, of course. But Angela was clever. She'd frame it as concern for me. I just think they hold you back, babe. You have so much potential, and they're still acting like they're in a frat house. The big one, the ultimatum, came last Tuesday. We were having dinner. She'd made my favorite lasagna, which in hindsight was a classic preemptive strike. She let me get a few bites in, get comfortable. "Steven," she started, her voice soft and serious, "we need to talk about our future." I tensed. The "our future" talk is rarely followed by, "I bought you a puppy." "I love you," she said, reaching for my hand. "I see a life with you. Marriage, a house, the whole thing. But I can't do that with them." I stared at her. "With them? You mean my friends?" "They're a bad influence," she said, her grip tightening. "The drinking, the silly inside jokes, the way they monopolize your time, it's not healthy. If we're going to build a real life together, a serious life, you need to cut them off." I felt a sudden, strange calm settle over me. It wasn't anger. It was clarity, like a lens snapping into focus. I saw the last year for what it was. Every canceled plan with them because she wasn't feeling it. Every little wedge she tried to drive between us. She wasn't just my girlfriend. She was a saboteur, meticulously trying to dismantle my support system. I looked at her, this woman I thought I loved, and I didn't recognize her at all. The warmth I'd felt was gone, replaced by a chilling calculation. She wasn't a partner. She was a hostile takeover. I pulled my hand away, picked up my fork, and took another bite of lasagna. It tasted like ash. I chewed, swallowed, and looked her right in the eye. "If you say so," I said. A brilliant, triumphant smile spread across her face. "Really? Oh, Steven, I knew you'd understand. This is for the best, you'll see. Our life is going to be so amazing now." She thought she'd won. She thought I was just rolling over. She had no idea. "You're right," I said, my voice even. "I should say a proper goodbye. It's only fair. I'll host one last party for them this Saturday, a final hurrah." Her smile faltered for a second. "A party? Is that necessary?" "It is for me," I replied. "Closure. Then it's just you and me." She bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. The idea of me formally dismissing my friends in front of her was too delicious for her to resist. It was the ultimate proof of her victory. So, for the next few days, I planned the goodbye party. I texted the group chat. Massive blowout at my place Saturday night. Mandatory attendance. It's a special occasion. Angela was in her element, flitting around, helping me pick out snacks and a playlist. She even suggested a theme, new beginnings. The irony was so thick I could have sliced it and served it as a canapé. She was practically vibrating with smug satisfaction. She thought she was attending a coronation. She was actually the guest of honor at an execution. Her own. Update. The party was epic. Everyone came. The apartment was packed with the people Angela had deemed unworthy. The music was loud, the laughter was louder, and the air was thick with the kind of easy camaraderie she could never understand. She spent the entire night plastered to my side, a benevolent queen surveying her newly conquered territory. Every time Jonathan told a booming, inappropriate joke or Anna dragged me into a dance-off, Angela would give me a look. A little knowing smile that said, "See? Aren't you glad you're leaving all this childishness behind?" I played my part. I was the dutiful, reformed boyfriend. I let her hold my hand, kiss my cheek, and whisper in my ear about how much better our lives were going to be. At 11:59 p.m., I climbed onto a chair. The music died down. Angela stood beside me, beaming, her hand on my back. She thought this was it. The big speech where I thanked my friends for the memories and formally kicked them to the curb. "Hey, everyone," I started, my voice ringing out in the sudden silence. "Can I have your attention for a minute?" I looked around at their faces. Jonathan, flushed and happy. Anna, mid-laugh with Eric. "My people, I wanted to gather you all here tonight for a very important reason," I continued, my voice steady. "As many of you know, Angela and I have been talking a lot about our future, about what we want that to look like." I felt her squeeze my back encouragingly. Her smile was blinding. "And Angela has made it very clear that for our future to work, I need to make some changes. She believes that my friendships with all of you are a bad influence." A confused murmur went through the crowd. Jonathan's smile vanished. Anna's eyes narrowed. "She gave me an ultimatum," I said, my voice dropping a little. "Her or you. She told me to cut you all off." The silence was now heavy, uncomfortable. Angela's smile was frozen on her face. Her hand had gone rigid on my back. I turned to look at her. Her eyes were wide, darting around, finally sensing the trap she was in. "And so," I said, turning back to my friends, "I wanted to get you all here tonight, to say thank you for everything, and to let you all know that I've made my decision." I stepped down from the chair, turned to Angela, and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "We're done, Angela. It's over. Please pack your things and leave my apartment. Your tea is on the counter." Then I turned my back on her, walked over to Jonathan, and he handed me a beer. The room erupted. It wasn't a celebration, not exactly. It was more like a collective, shocked exhale. Then Anna started laughing, a deep, full-throated laugh, and started the music back up, twice as loud as before. Angela just stood there, in the middle of the room, as the party swirled back to life around her. Her face was a mask of pure, unadulterated shock. She looked at me, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. She thought this was her victory party. But she was the only one who had lost anything. "She's been blowing up my phone all night. Texts, calls, voicemails. They started angry, then turned pleading. 'How could you do that to me, in front of everyone? Then, you've made your point, Stephen. I was wrong. Let's talk.' And now, the latest one, which I read just before starting to type this. 'Please, baby, just undo it. Tell them it was a joke. We can fix this.' There's nothing to fix. Ada? I don't really care if I am. But damn, it feels good to be free. Update. The party feels like a lifetime ago. The initial euphoria of freedom has been replaced by the grim reality of tactical warfare." Angela did not go quietly. After a final, hissed, "You will regret this," in my hallway, she left. And then she began her campaign. First, the petty stuff. I noticed my good noise-canceling headphones were gone, along with a collector's edition book set from Anna and, of all things, my expensive kitchen knives. It was so calculatedly bizarre. I emailed her to arrange their return. Her response was a masterclass in gaslighting, claiming she bought the knives and the headphones were a gift she was taking back. Lies. All of it. But the real offensive began a week later. Eric, my tech wizard friend and neighbor, called me. "Dude, you need to look out my window." I went over. Parked across the street was a pristine Audi. Leaning against it was Angela, looking up at my apartment building. In the driver's seat sat Larry, her work husband, a smarmy guy in a blazer I'd met once. The look on Angela's face wasn't sadness. It was the smug look of an arsonist admiring their handiwork. For a second, it wasn't anger I felt, but a deep, sinking weariness. I was so tired of her games. Then my phone buzzed. An email from my landlord, Mr. Roberts. Subject, formal complaint, lease violation. The email was curt, citing a formal complaint from another tenant about excessive noise, disruptive gatherings, and frequent, loud arguments, creating an unsafe environment. It specifically mentioned the night of the party. It was signed by a concerned neighbor. My blood ran cold. This was her and Larry. They were trying to get me evicted. The sheer audacity, the methodical cruelty of it, extinguished my exhaustion and replaced it with a cold, hard resolve. She thought she could burn my life down for defying her? Game on. This is where the antagonists scored their first point. My methodical plan hit a wall of bureaucratic indifference. I scheduled a meeting with my landlord, armed with a folder full of evidence. Emails from Angela admitting she had my things, the Amazon receipt for the knives, and a time-stamped photo from Eric's security camera showing Angela and Larry conspiring outside my building the very day the complaint was filed. I even had proof that Larry was the downstairs neighbor, the concerned neighbor. I laid it all out on Mr. Roberts' desk. He reviewed everything, his tired expression unchanging. "I see," he said, pushing the papers back toward me. "It's clear there's a personal issue between you and these people. So you'll dismiss the complaint?" I asked, relieved. "No," he said flatly. "A formal complaint was filed. Per the building's management policy, I have to issue a formal written warning. It'll go in your file. If a second complaint is filed, we move to eviction proceedings. My hands are tied." I stared at him, speechless. "Even with proof that it's a lie? That it's retaliation?" "It's procedure, Stephen," he said, not unkindly. "My advice? Keep your head down. Don't give them a reason to file another one." I walked out of that office with a black mark on my perfect rental history. A victory for them. It was a frustrating, infuriating lesson. The truth doesn't always matter when it's up against a sufficiently stubborn policy. My next move was small claims court for my stolen property. I filed the paperwork. I thought it was a simple, direct path to getting my things back. I was wrong. This is where Larry showed his hand, proving he was more than just Angela's getaway driver. A week later, I was served papers at my apartment. It wasn't a call from Angela. It was a thick envelope delivered by a professional process server. Inside was a formal legal response. Larry's fingerprints were all over it. It was a motion to dismiss my claim, arguing the items were irrevocable gifts, a normal part of a shared life. But that wasn't the worst of it. Attached was a counterclaim. Angela was suing me for intentional infliction of emotional distress and public harassment stemming from the breakup party. She was demanding $5,000. I felt the floor drop out from under me. This was no longer a personal dispute. This was a legal assault. They had taken my simple, factual claim and twisted it into a weapon against me. For the first time, I felt a genuine flicker of fear. This could get expensive and ugly. They had a lawyer, and I had a folder of receipts. The playing field was not level. It was another point on the board for them, and it was a big one. My resolve wavered. Was it worth it? For some knives and a book? The thought of backing down, of letting them win, was nauseating. While this was happening, I got a message from Angela's younger sister, Helen. "Hey, Stephen, Angela's telling us some crazy stuff. Just wanted to check if you're okay." I decided on radical, simple honesty. "Hey, Helen, I'm okay. Thanks for asking. The truth is, Angela gave me an ultimatum, her or my friends. I chose my friends. Now she and her lawyer friend are trying to have me evicted and are suing me. I'm sorry you've been put in the middle." I didn't ask her for anything. I just planted a seed of truth and trusted it to grow. Final update. The counterclaim was a declaration of war, but it was also a mistake. It was Larry's big arrogant overreach. My friend Anna's cousin is a lawyer. I bought her a very nice bottle of wine for an hour of her time. She read through the counterclaim and smiled. "This is aggressive," she said, "and sloppy. An emotional distress claim for a public breakup? A judge would laugh this out of court, but their goal isn't to win. It's to intimidate you into dropping your theft claim. Don't." Then she pointed to the sworn affidavit from Angela, where she detailed her version of the events. It was full of dates, times, and descriptions of how she and Larry had discussed the situation. And that's where I saw it. The key. Angela and Larry work for the same large, notoriously bureaucratic corporation. A company with a very thick, very detailed employee handbook, which, thanks to the internet, is publicly available. I spent a night reading it, fueled by coffee and spite. And there it was. A stringent policy on conflict of interest and use of company resources. It explicitly forbade employees from engaging in legal actions against one another that could create a hostile work environment, and it absolutely forbade senior employees, Larry was a department manager, from providing legal counsel to junior employees, Angela, in personal matters, especially when that matter involved harassing a third party. Their collusion was a direct violation of corporate policy. Angela's own affidavit was my proof. I didn't need a lawyer, I needed a bureaucrat. I drafted a polite, detached email. Not to HR, that was too direct. I sent it to their company's anonymous ethics and compliance hotline. I attached no names. I simply laid out a hypothetical situation. To whom it may concern, I wrote. I am seeking clarification on company policy. If a senior manager were to provide legal assistance to a junior employee in a personal dispute, resulting in a retaliatory and frivolous lawsuit against a member of the public, using information potentially discussed during work hours, would this constitute a violation of the company's ethics and conflict of interest policies? I attached the relevant, damning paragraphs from their own handbook and a heavily redacted, anonymous copy of Angela's counterclaim affidavit, with all names blacked out. I hit send, and then I waited. The effect was faster and more spectacular than I could have imagined. About a week later, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Angela. Her voice was trembling with rage. "What did you do?" she whispered furiously. "I have no idea what you're talking about," I said calmly. "Don't lie to me." Larry and I were called into a meeting with HR and the general counsel. They're investigating him. They knew everything, Stephen. About the lawsuit, everything. The anonymous email had set off an internal firestorm. They didn't need names. They could see who was suing whom within their own ranks. Larry, the brilliant strategist, had created a paper trail that led directly back to his own desk. The fallout was swift. 2 days later, a courier delivered a box to my door. Inside were my headphones, my books, and my knives. Taped to the top was a legal document, a formal withdrawal of her counterclaim and a motion to dismiss the entire case. That afternoon, I got an email from Mr. Roberts, the landlord. "Stephen, Mr. Larry has withdrawn his complaint. The warning has been expunged from your file. My apologies for the inconvenience." The final piece came from Helen. "OMG, Angela is falling apart. Larry got demoted. Apparently, he's being transferred to the branch in the middle of nowhere. She's saying you ruined their lives." I replied, "They made their choices. I just made sure they had to live with them." So, that's the end of it. It was a stressful, ugly couple of months. I didn't get a dramatic, movie-style confession. I didn't get an apology. All I got was my stuff back, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that their own arrogance and entitlement were the weapons I used against them. Angela remains bitter, convinced I'm a villain. Larry is probably learning to love a smaller city. And me? I hosted a board game night with my friends last night. It was loud. Jonathan was on. Anna gave me some unsolicited but brilliant advice, and it felt like coming home. I won, not by being a mastermind, but by being calm, collecting the receipts, and letting them trail over their own carefully laid plans. Justice, it turns out, is sometimes just a matter of good paperwork.